All right, for the topic of the debate, it's me versus Cho. It's Kaido versus Shanks. I think Shanks is strong. I mean, I think Kaido's stronger than Shanks. Cho thinks that Shanks is stronger than Kaido. Who do you want to go first?
Yeah, my position is that Shanks and Kaido. There's no moderator. There's no. Well, we will agree upon a judge after debate. So
We do
yeah,
want to just agree to one on like recordings, so like we don't have this one.
we could do it
So,
after. We could do it after. I'm like doing it right now. Do you want to scale first or what?
Shanks can go first. So
Or
yeah,
let's
so
go.
Shanks, I mean, Kaido considers himself to be the strongest in the world. He says nobody can beat me. And then he's like he's encountered Shanks, and we know with observation hockey, which Kaido has, you can sense someone's strength. So Kaido's just stronger than Shanks for that.
Uh huh. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. My question would be: is that firstly, why would it be the case that he used observation hockey? Secondly, even if I do grant that, why is it? Why is the extent of observation hockey used to a good extent, in which can really verify how strong Shanks truly is? And thirdly, I don't care about his claim. I don't think there's no foundation for the claim. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Can you? Oh, one sec. Let me write something down.
hmm
Can you clarify the third claim?
Yeah, I said for the third claim, given the burdens I just put upon you, the two ones I put on prior, I don't think there's any foundation for that. Via I could just dismiss it.
Okay. For firstly, for why he would use observation, it's just a case that observation helps you track people's moves in battle. So if Kaido has observation hockey and he wants to defeat Shanks, then it makes sense he would try to use it to like better dodge and like attack Shanks because it just helps him amp his speed, his reaction
But that
speed.
but that presupposes there's some sort of difficult. But that presupposes there is some sort of difficulty there. If it is the case that Kaido believes that when he fought against Shanks that he couldn't keep up normally without observation hockey, then obviously he would use it. Intuitively speaking, yes, he would. I can grant that. But we don't know how the situation occurred. It could be the case that Kaido was strictly relative with Shanks in terms of speed, and he didn't deem it to be necessary that he needed observation hockey. So I don't see why that can't be the case. I don't see why presupposing that he did use observation hockey. What's the foundation for that?
The only logical priors that we have for believing that Kaido didn't need observation hockey is if there'd be no relevant distinction between there'd be no relevant like difference in the fact that he'd be using observation hockey to more efficiently fight Shanks, which could only logically be deduced if he was already vastly superior to Shanks. Because if he was relative to Shanks in speed, then of course it would make sense for him to use observation hockey to get whatever like standing and like advantage he would on Shanks because he was trying to get to Marineford and ultimately was stopped. So the fact of the matter is, unless he was vastly outspeeding Shanks, which would concede that Shanks is like massively below Kaido in terms of speed, it doesn't make sense that he wouldn't use it.
Yeah, you have not explained why. All you do is make the claim saying that X doesn't make sense. Obviously, if I have my capabilities, let's say for example, obviously Kaido has crazy capabilities. He has double free, he has hockey, etc., etc. So I'm saying that if it is the case that I have relative speed or that Kaido can't keep up with this character, I don't see
Wait,
why
wait,
he
wait.
can.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. Y'all debating right now? I can,
Yep.
I can,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
let
I'm
me
saying that
announce it. Let
I
me
don't see
announce it.
why it can't be. Yeah, I'm saying that I don't see why it can't be the case that he's just confident in his own capabilities, as he doesn't have to use observation hockey for some sort of quote advantage there. I don't see why I can't just believe solely in his endurance, in his strength, in his AP, in his hockey, in his fruitability, etc., etc. You have no sort of foundation for why we should get the fact that he used observation hockey within that fight.
Okay,
Want to
so the
move on?
problem is that not only do we have no foundation for the idea that like Kaido's someone who would specifically rely on these stats, but it would just be more efficient for him to get to the Marineford, and ultimately, if he was stopped, right?
Prove that.
What do you mean it'd be more efficient? So you don't agree that what's it called? Observation like what's it called? Amps your speed or like reaction speed?
What?
Better.
Observation what? I'm sure what?
Amps your reaction speed and your ability to like tag people and like dodge people's attacks.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Who might is that? Who might is that? Who might is that? No, I don't agree. Anything you just said prior. I want evidence on some sort of foundation why he's more likely to use it. I already gave my katana. I already gave my
Well,
counter with my
already, like,
argument.
okay, that's why I asked you. Like, do you
Want to
agree
move on?
that?
Want to move
No,
on? No, I don't agree anything you just said. Nope.
okay, fine. I can show you observation hockey.
Wait, who's judging, y'all?
That's fine. We don't know.
The one, yeah.
Well, currently we don't know.
I mean, if y'all just started, you get like Isaac to judge or something.
Fuck no. No
Damn,
offense to my
Why
nigga
not,
Isaac,
bro?
but just
damn,
no,
bro.
bro. Just no, bro.
He doesn't want me to tell him when he loses to Lucas.
Alright, bro. Show us.
Yo, what's good, Zoff?
Yo, what up, bro?
Not much.
Oh, Cho, are you nervous? Podium's in the VC.
Bro, what?
It is
So
performance.
Lucas, wait, what scans are you getting? Are you getting to justify
One
something
sec,
like
one sec. I'll get them. I already have them almost.
that? Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Dre, DMs, bro.
Alright.
Okay, so if you can see in chat, we
Huh.
just see that Kaido uses observation hockey to better react to Luffy. He goes from getting like multiple punch like multiple times to just outspeeding him and just like landing an attack, despite like
Yeah, so this is very circumstantial. You do realize the reason why he more than likely used observations because of the fact of, firstly, Luffy's attacks, the trajectory of the attacks was changing consistently, so that he thought that one attack is coming this way, but it didn't change this. That's why he used the observation like within that scan. That is, we don't know if that's the same situation with Shanks, and intuitively, I don't believe it would be the case. So if you have any sort of reasonable cause or any sort of justification for why that would be the case, then can you please present that? Otherwise, I don't think that would follow to your conclusion from what you're arguing for.
Why is the specific
Yep.
circumstance of Luffy's punches being angled going to be relevant if it still allowed him to react to them better? My point is that observation is demonstrated to help you react to attacks better. Why is the trajectory going to be circumstantial and like something that
Wait,
wouldn't?
I don't think you realize. No. What I mean is that I think that he used X because of Y. I'm saying that I think he used X because of the situation that's present there. Obviously, within the scan, he even comments on the trajectory. Says is he bending the trajectory of his attacks? Given the nature of rubber, that's impossible. So obviously, Kaido's getting hit so many times where he has to kind of precog where it's going to be at, but it's not the case that it is there. That's the whole point I'm saying. So he has to do that. He has to use observation specifically in that circumstance because something that's new to him. Anything prior to that, Luffy has never done that until he went to the Snake Man. Obviously, so yes, he would do that within a situation, and obviously he would not. Well, I don't think he would do it in the same situation. You can't prove why or give any sort of foundation for why he would do the same thing in that situation. That's obviously different. That's obviously something that's not normative to him. Obviously.
Okay, I mean we can move on because I don't think that really addresses what I said.
Look,
As
yeah,
for
okay.
So yeah, I think based on that, observation would obviously be relevant. It would be most efficient for him to use observation. If the guy was ended up being stopped by Ringford anyway, showing that he couldn't get past Shanks, right? Observation is something that can help his speed. Going under that assumption that
Prove that. Prove that.
what prove what prove what
Wait, one time. Wait, what speed are we talking? Like, what facet of speed are we talking about? First of all,
reaction speed. Also better
reaction speed.
attacks.
No, I don't grant that. I don't grant that.
Okay, we already went through that point. So like
No, we
presupposing.
didn't. No, we didn't. I didn't grant that. You're talking about.
I sent my scans. We argued over the nature of the scans. We did move on from that. I'm not gonna let you fucking hold the dialogues.
Nigga, all you did was send 3 scans of him finding it. So you never argue for the fact that it increases reaction speed, bro. But it's
Yes, it
okay.
fucking does. Yes, it
Can we move on?
does. Yes, I did. Yes,
Yeah,
I did.
I don't grant that. I don't grant that. I don't grant that. I'm dismissing.
I did argue that. I mean, that's fine if you didn't
You
try.
didn't. You didn't. Let's move on. Let's move on.
My
Wanna move
point
on?
is that
Also, wait. What other claim did you make, by the way?
all I'm saying, in the claim is that like, okay, if it does amp your reaction speed and Shanks was too much for Kaido that he had to actually like leave him Ringford anyway. Obviously, it would have made sense that like in their little scuffle that they had, that he'd use it to most efficiently try
I
to
ain't
beat.
gonna lie. I don't really grant that. Secondly, I don't think it's within Kaido's mindset to maximize victory. So I
Why?
don't see why I grant that.
That'd be the
Why?
most,
I have no reason because I have no reason to believe it.
that's because it's the most logical thing that would like help you for battle.
Wait. Oh my God. Obviously, we say that X thing is the most logical thing for a person to win a fight. If this person doesn't have a mindset of maximizing the victory, or they just want victory to come naturally to them, why would we assume the same thing for Kaido?
Well,
Why do we assume? Hold on, wait,
okay, we have more priors. We have more
chill.
priors.
I'm
One
not
sec,
done.
one
I'm
sec.
not done. I'm not
One
done.
sec,
Wait,
one
I'm
sec,
not.
one sec,
But I'm
one
not
sec,
done.
one sec, one
But
sec,
I'm
one
not
sec,
done.
one sec.
But I'm not done. But I'm not done. But I'm not done. But I'm not done. Obviously, yeah. Obviously, I think that Kaido fights in a very idiosyncratic ways. So I think that, for example, when you see people in fiction fight, usually they go all out from the start to maximize victory. But it seems to be the case that off the priors that I have, that Kaido fights in weird ways, as for example, going from base and climbing up. Obviously, I think that happens consistently throughout the series, especially in Wano. So if we know that is the case, or have some sort of priors for that, why would we grant your interp, which would be that he will maximize victory? Like
Okay, well,
what?
the problem, yeah,
Go ahead.
I think the difference in these like situations is that we see that Kaido doesn't always start a fight at full power, but we do see that when he's getting overwhelmed, such as, for example, the example that I sent here, that when he's getting
Uh-huh.
overwhelmed by a specific attack or form, that he will
Mhm.
power up. In this case, using
Yep.
future state observation hockey to
Yep.
overwhelm the opponent. So if he was getting
Mhm.
overpowered, or at least what's it called? If he was getting dealt with by Shanks to an extent that he couldn't end up going to the Marineford, it would make sense that he'd be doing as much as he can because when Kaido gets overwhelmed or can't get like past opponents, he does power up like with the example I sent.
I don't
Him,
grant the second
I
part. I
don't
don't,
think
I don't grant
not done, not done. Him not going all full power immediately is not a debunk to that because he does power up when he's being overwhelmed. But the fact that he still ended up
that. Prove that.
for tier shows that he was probably using the largest extent of his capability. That's still what's it called? Because that is what he does when he is actually doing like what's it called? Pushback by opponents.
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume when you say getting overwhelmed, you mean that where he's put in a position where he's losing or he has the chance to lose. I mean, if you're using the Luffy example, once again, I already pointed out how that's circumstantial. That's obviously not normative. And I don't grant the fact of if he's going relative or whatever the case might be. You said something like that prior. That was duplication. I don't grant that. What the fuck? I don't grant that if Kaido and X character are going relative, I don't grant the fact that he would power up. My nigga. And also within a sync situation, once again, you cannot use those two variables because firstly, we don't know if he was getting overwhelmed. We don't know how the fight went. All we know is that they clashed. We don't know what happened after. If it is the case that after somebody came and sucking each other's dick, etc., etc., we don't know what happened after. So you cannot use once again those two things you just mentioned because we don't have any sort of context to prove empirically speaking of what you're saying to be valid. So can we move on, please? I'm gonna dismiss all that. It's
No,
just
no, 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 no.
what?
No. Listen,
Let's
the
move on,
point
buddy.
is, nope, nope, nope. Okay, don't interrupt me. But what's I
Yes,
gonna
sir.
say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's it called? First off, I don't like see the relevance in like the Gear 4 thing with the trajectory mattering because the point is, it still is an
Mhm.
example that as he's getting overwhelmed, he does power up. And I can send another example, but I don't even think I need to because we have more priors for this. We don't have zero priors for what you're saying, like how would do this. So I don't even need to send an extra example.
I'm not going.
The point is that
Oh
what's it called?
man, that's a straw man. I'm
With
not
the
going.
Shanks example, if you don't understand, like I already gave my argument for why the Shanks example, and knowing what we know that Kaido was turned away from Marineford despite having the incentive, is what's it called?
Taking a priest
Is
is true.
relevant enough to understand that like he should have been trying as much because when he does get overwhelmed or not able to achieve his goal, for example, winning the fight, he does power up. We have one like example of that. We have no priors for what you're saying, so yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
yeah, so just to be clear, he made a claim on my position. I'm gonna dismiss that. I don't like when any nigga make a claim on my position. And also given the fact of what I said, I already addressed the whole Luffy example. I already explained why that's circumstantial. And on top of that, yeah, within the Kaido and Shanks thing, you're still presupposing the mindset thing. We can move on. You never just anything I fucking said. Let's move on, bro.
Okay.
Please.
Anyways, we can
Let's move
address the
on.
other point you made earlier on in the debate, which is
Let
like
me- We're going.
why
We're going.
one sec,
What's it
which is the
going?
whole like, can you fucking let me finish, please? Come on. What was I gonna say? Like this guy just talks, bro. What was I gonna say? The whole like observation wouldn't be giving him like the extent. We do know as stated that observation hockey does allow you to sense an opponent's strength, assuming that there'd be a certain extent that Kaido can sense and not anymore, would just be adding on assumptions as to how the ability works. So
I
that was
mean, first it's in the scan. Secondly, I don't grant the second thing you just said. I want you to prove that. So, it's in the scan you're talking about, firstly? Go ahead, please.
Wait, you do understand, while I'm sending the scan, you do understand that, like, to assume that there's an extent of a limitation to being able to send someone's, what's it called, hockey is an assumption that's not founded on the story, right?
You send the scan you're talking about first. Then we can talk about it.
Sure,
Hello?
I can send the scan, yeah.
What the fuck? Okay. Fucking dot. Let's got this nigga a thigh, bro. What the fuck? I jerk off the future. Sorry. Look at the scan. The higher the person ability, the greater it can be grant. Yeah. Get a fitness 100 by directing the ability of observation hockey in all directions. It is possible to grasp the number and location. As your skill and accuracy increase, you can even see how powerful your opponent is. Okay. So first of all, my first contention with the mindset is still there, but why that would even be able to occur? And secondly, it says as your skill and accuracy increase, you can even see how powerful your opponent is. So my question would be, why do you think that Kaido's skill and accuracy of observation hockey is so good to the point he was able to assess Shank's strength in a truthful manner? Go ahead, answer that question.
Well, I just think there's a higher. We could just use inductive reasoning that, like, typically observation users in One Piece are demonstrated to have this ability, whereas we don't see an example of an observation user that is limited from this ability. And I can give examples, by the way, of these
What ability?
observation.
What ability? What ability?
Like sensing your power through like observation thing.
Let's move on. That did not fucking track. Oh my god, let's move on.
Yeah,
Please,
that
move
does
on, Lucas.
track. I mean, if you
Okay, let's
want me
move on.
to
Oh,
prove
no, no, Lucas, brother. If
that
it
person
track, if
One
it track,
Piece,
if it's inferred, let's move on, please. Please, pretty please.
you can move on.
That did not track, my nigga. Can we move on?
You're fine.
All right, is that already scaling, bro? I don't want to scale. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You don't want to scale?
Fuck no, I don't want to scale.
You just want to sell the debate based on like my skill?
Yeah, if you're confident you want, let's do that.
We
And
can
this
end
is
this.
easy. Nigga, you fucking